Mr. Grothman, you are now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you. I can't think of a bill I have more of an interest in this session, and it's not a positive one. I like our chairman, but first of all, I'd like to make a statement. Before I begin my questioning, I'd like to submit the following documents into the record: a statement in support of 14C and a full array of employment choices for individuals with disabilities from the Disability Service Providers Network, a statement in opposition to 2373, the Transformation to Competitive Integrated Employment Act from the A-Team, a great grassroots advocacy organization, and finally, my constituent friend Yael Curzon, her personal story of her experience working both in the community and with her CRP called Northwoods.
So noted.
So thank you. Now, I would also beg members of the committee, before we ever take any vote on this, to personally tour some of these facilities themselves. I have 10 in my district. I don't know how anybody could tour these facilities and see how happy the employees are to have a 30 or 35 hour a week job like their siblings and friends. To get rid of it, I just think you're taking such a wonderful choice away from people. And I think it's quite frankly anti-helping these people to have Big Brother come in and say you can't have that option. I have talked to people who move to something in the community. Either that job is a 6 or 7 hour job instead of a 30-hour job, or they just don't like it because they like so much the current settings. And it is so arrogant to force these people to work in the community when they would prefer to work in these facilities. And I beg other members of the committee to tour these facilities in their district. Now, Dr. Putz, couple things. We have been told by one of the other committee members that people want to get out of these facilities and everybody would rather work in the community. I don't find that true when I talk to people. I find people who worked in the community and regret it and want to get back, but I want you to comment on that quickly.
And I'll go back to everyone as an individual. There are absolutely folks that are very happy working in a 14C setting and wish to remain there. And there are folks who have aspirations for competitive integrated employment, and it is 100% our job to help them reach that when that is their goal.
Is there a difference, do you think, a little bit between people with physical disabilities and more mental disabilities?
Sure. And again, everyone with a disability is so different. So there is a definite difference between intellectual and developmental disabilities, which is predominantly who we serve.
Right. Next question I have, and I think it's going to be particularly a big problem for people with mental disabilities. But next, when they say we found employment for people, one of the things that I find is they exaggerate, because someone goes from a 35-hour a week job to a 6-hour a week job, and they say, aha, we found a job in the community. And the rest of the time you're babysit in a daycare setting. And people know very well that they lost their job and they're miserable. And I think to count finding a 6 or 7 hour job to replace a 35-hour job is just so unfair. But I'd like you to comment on that.
Yeah, and it's not a replacement. It's certainly an interesting opportunity for someone. Competitive integrated employment is always a worthy goal for individuals, but 6 hours doesn't replace 30.
Right. That it's just so dishonest. I'm going to say too, I think frequently you find a 6 and 7 hour job. It's not only a different job for the employee, it's a different job from the employer. I find a lot of employers in my district, when they do offer the 6 or 7 hour a week thing, they view it as charity all the way. They're not getting a lot out of that employee. The employee knows it, but we create an expectation in our society, which is wonderful, and that a lot of employees feel it's their goal as a good citizen to, in essence, kind of sadly babysit this person for 6 and 7 hours a job. And that's fine, and it's wonderful to be out in the community. But I sometimes think certain advocates miss that. Do you feel that's the attitude of some of the private sector employers, that they view it as more of a charity than we found this employee?
I think a lot of employers want to do what they consider to be the right thing, that they want a diverse workforce. And I think increasingly understanding that people with disabilities are part of a diverse workforce is becoming more common. But at the same time, if the position made sense at more than 6 or 7 hours, then I'd like to think the employer would offer the position.
That's exactly right. I find that again and again. People hired for 6 or 7 hours a week, and everybody says how wonderful it is, but miraculously, the employer says how wonderful it is. That employee never moves up to 14 or 15 hours a week. There's a reason for it. Do you feel that people have more job security in formerly called workshops than they do out in the community? Another thing that concerns me is, businesses open and close, and consistency and security is so important for that population. I find frequently that when people get jobs in the community, restaurant work is common. Restaurants open and close.
You're out of
Much
time,
more
sir.
traumatic. Oh, okay.
Yes,
Madam,
we are past time.
thank
Yes,
you much. I again beg members of the committee to tour these facilities in their district. Thank you for
Thank you
having
very
me.